This little segment's going to have a look at different types of lighting around the campsite and the different strengths and weaknesses of each light. Doing it at night really just to show you how good, bad or indifferent each of these sources is. Behind me is the Audi orange lights, the LED bar lights that we've had for some time. We've got the orange ones on the outside of the tent and we've got the white ones inside. The orange light helps keep away insects while the white light helps us see inside. So initially we'll just have a look at the effect the orange light is having at the campsite here. And you can see the light spread is reasonable. It's not huge, but it does allow you to see reasonably well around the campsite. The orange lights themselves are just fixed by magnets onto the awning. There's magnets on the lights themselves, and we've got rare earth magnets on the back, and they hold on pretty well. So that's one option. Now one by one we'll put these on, and then I will turn off the orange lights. We'll start with the little lantern here. Aldi again. How much stuff have we bought from Aldi? You can see this one is losing a few LEDs. None of those rows is now intact. They were originally, but it's still quite a good light. It's very lightweight. It's got a hanger on top so that we can hang that up inside the tent. It throws out a pretty good light. Orange lights are completely off. Put that down and you'll be able to see that's throwing out, oh, it's about the same as the orange lights, I guess. Maybe a little better, but of course it's a white light, which makes it easier to see. There is an adjuster on here. How well you can see that, I'm not sure in the dark. Well, you can see that with the light shining. There is an adjuster, but as you can see, it doesn't make a lot of difference. It does drop the brightness down a little bit. But it's a good lightweight little lantern. The battery can't be very big because it doesn't feel very heavy, but it does last quite a long time between recharges. So have a look around with the camera, just holding that up above here so it doesn't affect the lens too much. And you can see the light it throws off is reasonable. We use that one for inside the tent. Now the next one we're going to have a look at is also an Aldi light. Strange that. 3 of these just happen to be from Aldi. We'll get the light for that one on. Turn the lantern off. This one throws out quite a diffuse light. It's good for late at night when you've got to get up in the middle of the night and take a visit to the dunny. Now the reason we bought this one was because it's got an insect killer on it. It's got a wire around there that is live, and the UV light attracts insects. You can see there is one on there. I'd actually have to knock that off. You can take the top of this off to get a more bright light, and there are 3 different settings. Now if I can remember, the switches on this are not the easiest to find, but you can pick them up. Okay, so you've got 3 different settings and UV light for killing insects, so you turn the light off altogether if you're going to use it for that. So let's just show that again. 1 fairly low light, 2 medium, 3 brighter, and we'll hang that up. As you can see, again, throwing out fairly good light. This is without the diffuser on it. You can use it directionally, almost like a torch, It has a hanger on the back, so you can hang it up in a tent. With the diffuser on it, you get a more gentle light, I guess you would call it. Now the diffuser just helps spread that light out. It's probably not quite as strong. Still slightly directional. Okay, the next light we're going to look at here is the Hawk light. We had a look at these lights in the recharge section, but you didn't get any demonstration of how good they are. This one can be used as a torch. Let's get the bug light off. So this one you can use as a torch. Not a particularly bright light for that, but sufficient to see your way around. Because it's directional, you can see further out than you can with the other lights. It's picking up the fire over there. There's no fire on at the moment, but it's picking up the stones for that. So it's got a better reach, but it's not meant for lighting up a large area with just the torch. The next setting on that allows you to turn on one of the flat sides, and that's fairly bright. The only trouble with finding the switch on these things sometimes is the switch is a little bit flat and not very easy to find when it's not in exactly the right position. Okay, I can see it just there. Now if you've had the light on for a while like that and then click again, it'll turn itself off. If you click quickly, then it goes into different lighting modes. Now that's got both sets of lights on. As you can see, that's pretty bright. And if I lift that up, you can see the spread there is pretty good. You can see all the way out to the fire, and it has a very wide spread. Now, as I mentioned in the other video, this has got magnets on it, so it can be stuck up against a metal surface. It's also got a hook on it, and it's also got a tripod mount. So very versatile, very useful little light. The next two lights are torches. Now let's see if we can find the first torch. Here is the Phoenix. We were sent this one to review, and we did a review video on that some time ago. That has different settings. Now we'll get this light off. As you can see, the tactile switch on this is very difficult to locate. Okay, so the light from the Phoenix, it has technically it has 4 power settings, and it gets progressively brighter, but you do need a specific battery to get it at its brightest. I will give the information below on the lumens for this one. I don't know it initially. I know with the proper battery it goes up to 1000 lumens. And we'll see how much reach this one has got. Very directional, and you can see pretty good reach out there. The camera actually is not picking that up quite as well as I can see with my own eyes, but pretty impressive for a little torch. The last torch here to have a look at is the big one. This is the Audi. I'll go through some more details of these later on and fill this in when daylight comes along so you can see everything a bit better. This is just a comparison for a light beam. The Audi lights up everything. Yeah, we'll just get this one off. The switch on the Phoenix is annoying because it's hard to find at night. Not so with the Audi. You look back at this table, and you can see that's pretty bright. And the reach on this is probably the best of the lot. has two beam modes. That's the wide beam at the moment, and the second beam you pull forward the cover and it turns it into a spotlight. So that increases the range of the torch. You can see that is now reaching quite a long way back, and at 1500 lumens this I think would be the most powerful torch we've got. Different uses for each of them, and I'll go through that properly when daylight is here. I'll go through more details properly when daylight is here, and then we can see things a bit better than you can at night. Three settings: simple click, high, which is 100%, 50%, and then you have an emergency signal, SOS. Well, we won't show that too much tonight. And that's it. That's a look at the lights we're using on this trip. Simple little torch there. A couple of other lantern type. The hawk light and the big Aldi torch. Okay, now we've seen the lights at night and their different performance. We'll just have a proper look at them during the day so you can actually see the features. Start off with the hawk light. Fairly compact. Battery in this section, recharger there, on-off switch here. I don't like these flat on-off switches that are not all that tactile. You'll find with all this other rubber stuff around it, that can be pretty hard to find in the dark. I prefer something raised a bit more than that, but it does work. The hawk light, as you saw in the nighttime demonstration, has a torch and has four large LED lights here. No point demonstrating them during the day. You can have two on or you can have four on, and it throws out a good amount of light. The end of it has a hook. Now, let's take, that's actually a camera mounting I've got on there. So you can mount it on a tripod, which is really useful for anyone doing any filming. Apart from that, it also has a hook, so you can hang it up. Probably a bit much for inside a tent, it's very bright. And on the back of the light there are three magnets, so you can have it flat on a metal surface, or you can get it at 90 degrees. Make sure that two of those magnets are in contact with the metal, and that will hold it quite securely, and you can use one as a downlight or you can use it as an outlight depending on which way you need the light to be thrown. Quite happy with that light, available from Bunnings, and quite happy to recommend it. The old one we got from there, a different type of light, similar style, gave up on us, so we weren't too happy with that one, but this one's been pretty good, so quite happy to recommend that if you're looking for a decent little light. Next one is the Aldi that we've been going on about for some time. 30 bucks. Not always available on Aldi, sadly. You can't just go in and buy one. You've got to be there when they've got the specials on. It has a collar on here that winds back to expose the two USB points. Large USB to use it as a battery bank, small USB to charge. The front end pulls forward to spotlight, so wide beam there, spotlight there. Some details in there of specifications and whatnot. 1500 lumens maximum, 750 half power, and an emergency SOS. Good light, very powerful, nice metal casing, feels nice, feels like a good quality light. Happy with that. This is our Aldi lantern that we've had for quite a while. Some of these LEDs, as you will have seen, are giving up, but still a useful thing. It's as light as anything, so I don't know whether they've got a lithium battery or something like that in here. I haven't really had a good look at it, but obviously the battery is very light, but we can keep that on all evening without needing to recharge. Throws out quite a bit of light. Simple on-off switch. Recharge ports here. Again, this one appears to be one that you can use as a battery bank, but I very much doubt that that's going to give you much power. So you've got an out here and a micro here, which is the in for charging. As with most of them, a little rubber cap that goes over the top. Handy little handle for carrying it round. and a hook, and we just hang that up inside the tent. That gives us enough light at night. I don't bother with anything else. Now we move on to the Fenix, which we've done reviews on before. We were given this one to try out. Been very happy with it. It's a good solid little light. Like the Hawk light, it has a difficult to find switch. You'll note the difference between this and the Audi. The Audi is on a very smooth collar with a flat surface and a raised button. This at night is on an already rather tactile edge, and you'd think you'd be able to find that easily, but the times I've gone round and round and round and round in the dark trying to find that little button, I would prefer that to be raised like the Audi one. That would make a lot more sense to me. But nevertheless, a very good little torch. Almost impossible to kill it. You just put ordinary batteries in there, or I guess you can use rechargeables if you like. 1000 lumens maximum power. If you have the recommended battery, I think it's probably less than that, maybe 800. I'll look it up and I'll put it on the screen when you have standard batteries in there. This one was again the Audi bug light section in here with the charged wire and a UV light, a little light on top. We find that one's very handy when you're getting in and out of bed and you don't want to have this one, you don't want to turn this one off and then grope your way around in the dark. You just have this one sitting next to the bed somewhere. We've just got a little hook on here, and we just hang it off one of the tighteners on one of the tent poles. So that hangs up upside down, or you can fold that in and put it that way up, although in that position it tends to be very easy to knock it over. We've knocked it off the bed a couple of times, which is about a 4-foot drop from the camper trailer. It survived it, so not too bad. Throws out a reasonable amount of light. You will have seen again in the test what it's like. We haven't had it long enough to really say yay or nay with recommendations on it. All we can say, I guess, is that we're happy with it so far. Again, a rechargeable light. This time just the single micro USB port. And 2 switches, one for the UV light and one for the standard light. Last but not least is the little fence light, again from Audi. You're going to get sick of me saying the word Audi, I think, by the time you've heard all our different product reviews. And I know I don't get paid by Audi to do a thing. I bought all the gear myself. Now this is actually a fence post light. It's meant to just click onto a fence post, sit there and gather the sun during the day, and come on automatically at night. It's got an on-off switch on the back. I assume it's reasonably weatherproof because it's meant to be outside. The switch, it has a rubberized coating on it. It has a light sensor so that when it's in the on position, it sits there during the day gathering power, and at night will just turn itself on. Make sure it's in the on position. You can probably just about see that. So once you cover the light sensor up, it turns itself on. So it's simulating it getting dark. Normally we just leave them off when they're charging. Very handy. We throw them on the car dash, leave them up there to charge during the day, and generally we'll stick one of these in the toilet tent at night and it stays on all night long. As I probably mentioned in the other video, the batteries that come with these are rubbish. You might as well take them out when you get the lights and throw them away, because they'll probably only last you a couple of weeks anyway. Get yourself a decent quality rechargeable battery like an Eneloop, pop that inside, and with a day's charge these things will stay on all night. Very useful. You can also slip them up under guy lines if you've got trouble with falling over guy lines at night. We just slip these up in the V section of the guy line, the rope over there like that. Because it's tight, it generally holds it, and that will just provide light around the guy line. 3 in a packet at Aldi, and I think they were about $10, so good value. And that's it for our lights. It gives you an idea of what we're using and how useful they are and the pros and cons of each one. So I hope you've enjoyed that little segment.